Welcome, coaches, to the Coaching Magic Podcast, where we reveal, discover, and create the insights, tools, and aha moments that make your coaching seem, well, magical. I'm your host, Jill Young, and I invite you to listen up, giddy up, and buckle up as we play with this creative profession of coaching that helps humans become their best, including you. Wow, wow, wow. In today's episode, I feel like we're all going to go on a journey. This journey starts with why, which is kind of a fun phrase that lots of us like. Colleen shares with us her why wall, which I'm totally going to replicate. I can't wait to do that. But also we get into money magic. Colleen is a coach, and she really started her coaching practice as a financial advisor. So we get into money. In fact, in this episode, you're going to see Colleen coaching me around some money. And I also coach myself, which is, well, coaching usually is as people are just coaching themselves. So lots of magic happening in this episode. I encourage you to grab a pen, maybe even be ready to close your eyes and do some exercises and unfolding with me. Enjoy. Well, Colleen is here today, everybody, at Coaching Magic. We're so excited to have Colleen here. Colleen, what is on your wall, you said? You said something's on your wall.
I told Jill that if I could turn my camera around without messing my settings up, Jill so kindly sent me two pieces that she did, and I have it on my wall, my why wall, why I do what I do. And one says, how often do you amaze yourself? And the second one says, she is still creating.
Well, I happen to have one of those right here. Look, there it is.
There you go. That's exactly what it looks at.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Colleen, tell us more about your why wall. What is this?
Well, I think for all of us when we started our businesses, we have big whys. You know, we want to buy a house, we want to, take care of kids, our families, education, all those things. And I've been very blessed to build a really fabulous businesses. And at one point in time, several years ago, I went, what's my why? What is as important as being a really good mom and, that financial stability and that creativity and whatever. So now my why wall has pictures of family and friends and charity things I'm doing and, thank you notes I get and things like what Jill has made me, pictures our grandkids have made, people's Colby and print numbers in our family. I'm just looking.
Oh my gosh, this is so great. Colleen,
my coaching wheel about what to make sure I bring to the room every time I coach. That's my unique ability statement. That's become my why wall.
Okay, this is so incredible because one of the goals of this Coaching Magic podcast is to reveal to other coaches what other great coaches do. And sometimes we invent tools on this podcast, we share tools. And now I am writing this down. I am going to create a why wall for myself. I love that you said you put thank you notes on there, other things that inspire you, remind you why you're doing this, of course. But you even have Colby numbers and print numbers up there of people that you love. That is great.
That's awesome. Yeah. My family might not think it's great, but I do.
There we go.
Because as coaches, as people who are out in the world, we have people who get stuck in our lives and we get stuck.
Absolutely.
And so how is it, for me, my thing is how quickly can I get unstuck? It's not that we don't get stuck. Everybody still does. It's how quickly can I get unstuck? And all those things support me in doing that.
So, getting unstuck, I want to dig into that too, because that's also such a beautiful skill of a coach. One thing that we cannot do as coaches is bypass our own humanness. And I
Yes.
see this happening out in the world where maybe sometimes coaches think, well, I'm just gonna coach other humans. I'll
Yeah.
help other humans do this, but me, I don't need to look inside myself. I'm good. I'm okay. And sometimes we're not okay. So, can you talk to us a little bit about how you get yourself unstuck?
Um, a, a couple of things. Number one, I do believe that any of us who are coaching who don't have their own coach
Hmm.
are working our stuff out on our clients. Kind of
Oh, wait, we're going to pause right there. We're
mic
going to
drop.
pause for powers. Can you say that again? Because my brain wants to hear it again. I love this.
I really do believe that any of us who are coaches who don't have a coach or coaches are working our stuff out on our clients.
That is a mic drop. And just as you say that, Colleen, I'm thinking to myself, it feels like as soon as that became truth to me, all of these things just fell into place in my past. Like
Mm.
I was working that out on my client, working my own things out on my client. And I've had lots of coaches through my practice, but in the times before, and I just really felt like, I had to figure it out on my own. I can totally see how I did that.
Yeah. You know,
Hmm.
it's why I love what you're doing with getting women coaches together, uh, because it is that ability to have that conversation and not feel shame or guilt for not doing it perfectly. If we are learning, if we're growing, we're learning. Our friend Dan Sullivan says growth comes from a willingness to go through periods of fear, uncertainty, and discomfort.
Hmm.
And one of the things when I get together with my colleagues and other coaches is to say, where in the last quarter were you going through fear, uncertainty, and discomfort? Because if we're not, then we're not growing ourselves. And we're wanting our clients to grow. So seems
Yeah,
like we should be doing the same
we
thing,
should be
mirror,
doing
mirror,
we
right?
should be doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
I've often said to new coaches when they say, "Okay, what question have I not asked?" or "What would you share with me about what my journey is going to look like in the future?" I'll often slow the conversation way down,
Yes.
way down, and say, "If you have not yet gone through your own personal work, buckle up." Because if you engage in this beautiful and creative profession of coaching, if you're not willing to go through those periods of fear, uncertainty, and discomfort yourself, you will be drugged through the mud, screaming and screaming and crying. Like you will be forced to do this. So you either go in willingly or you will be, forcefully drugged.
Yeah, I can see that as one of your little things coming. I don't know what it's actually going to say, but
That's great. We could create it right now. It's something like go willingly or you
or
will
be drug.
or be drugged or you will be pushed over the cliff. You choose.
Yeah, your choice. Your
Go
choice.
willingly or be drugged through the mud. You
Yeah.
choose to take your intentional step or you will stumble,
Yeah.
right? And either way if you're a coach, you are going to go through those growth modes because your clients are going through those growth modes, because you're right in there with them. If you're not willing to do that, you're going to stay awake at night thinking about it and, being able to compartmentalize and work through that, play through that.
Yeah. And it made me think about the fact that if we have the same type of clients that we did 5 years ago or 10 years ago,
Mm.
then we probably aren't doing our own work. We probably aren't growing ourselves. And that's an interesting thought.
Wow. Let's play with that for a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Because if you're answering the same questions that clients have, if you have all the answers, right? One of the things I love to tell people is somebody asks a question and I'm like, I have no idea. It is a great question, and let's work through that, or let's do some research on it, or we will be back to you. I always tell people you don't have to have all the answers. As a matter of fact, if you do, then you're not being challenged, you're
Mm.
not growing. So that's an interesting thought. If you have all the answers to your clients' questions, then you're not growing with, yeah, that's interesting.
The way I'm letting that phrase land on me, how it's what's coming up for me here is I'm an EOS implementer, and I've been doing that for 11 years, and I teach the same system.
Yes.
As I have grown, I know what I am attracted to in a client is that they come in and they have big growth goals. They have really great people, but they have some big obstacles. And those are now the kind of team clients that I love to take on. Whereas
Yeah.
10 years ago, that would have scared me. Now, if I get a client that is like, someone calls me as a prospect and they're like, hey, you know, we're just running this little office and we just kind of want to run a little bit better. I'm like, oh, I've got other really great coaches to refer you to.
Yes.
I could see that that's not even going to challenge me, and then I just don't know that I'll bring my best energy to it if I'm not stretching a little bit too. So I love how you said I don't have all the answers. It's creating that environment to co-create that is exciting.
Right. Because I would say probably one of the worst Jills to be around is a Jill that's bored. And
Oh, that is true.
A Jill that's bored, or any of us that are bored, are people who are doing the same things. You know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, those clients were right fit clients.
Absolutely.
If we're growing and learning 10 or 15 years later, those are, I don't want to say A, B, C, D, but those are C, D clients who would be somebody else's A's
Mhm.
who who's at that different place, and they would bring a different energy to it because they would be excited when you and I would be bored,
There you go. There you
right?
go. And
Yeah.
it's about matching the energies. You
Yes.
talked about Colby and print and how, we can match styles, we can balance styles. And that's just another way of doing it.
Yeah.
And it also helps the coach grow. Ooh,
Yes.
I love, love, love this. Colleen, you've spent a lot of your career, your businesses in the financial services.
Yes.
So money, okay, money. Oh
But
my goodness, what it could be a heavy topic. Um, it's a heavy topic for coaches. A lot of the coaches we're our own entrepreneur.
yeah.
We're a solopreneur. Maybe we have a small team with us, but money is a thing that can really mess with a coach's mind. It can take us out of presence.
Yeah.
One of the coaches the other day, she said, Jill, can you describe magic in one word? I'm like, okay, presence.
Mm,
So our coaching magic, if
yeah.
coaching magic is our presence,
Yes.
and money is just one of those things in our world that can just knock us out of our presence, can you talk to us about a few things you've learned about money over the years that might be useful mindsets for coaches to really be friends with money?
Big friends. Money magic.
Money magic, yay!
I believe for most of us and for most of my clients in the planning firm and entrepreneurs, because as financial advisors, most of us didn't come in to own a business.
Yeah.
We came in, I came in because I needed a job. And I ended up having this company. And um, I think maybe the best coaching I can say is as soon as you can be transparent and authentic with your money,
Hmm.
magic happens. And you said, Jill, about presence. You're being in the present, being present, I think is the absolute best present we can give to ourselves. And that presence allows for transparency on money. Money is one of those things that has a lot of guilt and shame and power, and it just has so many attention, so much attention to it,
Mm-hmm.
similar to weight for women,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the sooner we can get a partner, and maybe it's in a coaching cohort or it's, one-on-one with a friend or whatever, that we can be transparent with and say, here's where I am, here's where I want to be. I mean, it's pretty easy to back into how much work do I need to do to get there? Is that realistic? Do I have to think outside the box? What do I need to do, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and making sure I'm going to do a plug
Please.
because in the last year, I just did a LinkedIn post on this. I've had two people come to me that did not have their planning in order and their spouse passed away.
Hmm.
And I don't care if you own a business, manage a family, whatever it is, it, it just throws everything for a loop,
Hmm.
right?
Oh, it
So
does.
being
Yeah.
honest, do we have a succession plan in place?
Hmm.
When I started working with a bunch of financial advisors, just coaching them about business stuff, do you have your own succession plan in place?
Hmm.
Do you have life insurance? Do you have disability insurance? Do you have the foundation? Do you have an emergency fund? If
Hmm.
any of us who own a business believe it's going to go like this for money, we haven't owned a business for very long because it always goes like that,
It always does. That's right.
you know, and things happen with my businesses. I guess I was lucky originally to go through September 11th. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel like it. September 11th was a horrible time,
Mm-hmm.
but I learned then that you can go months without new business
Hmm.
because there was so much fear and I didn't have an emergency fund. So when 2008, 2009 happened, which people
Mm-hmm.
don't know, it was the market just
Mm-hmm.
cratered. I had a year of emergency fund money there and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't worried. So I was a different coach. I was a different business owner because I knew my team was going to get paid. I knew my family was going to get fed. I knew because I was a single mom until my son was in college. So I knew all those things were going to happen because of the lesson I learned not having it, 10 years earlier.
This is beautiful. I think this is what you're sharing with us. And sometimes I have to hear it two or three times
Yeah, yeah.
to really get it, but I think you tell me if I'm hearing you right. The way for a coach to stay in our presence, in our magic, is to just do those simple things that we help our clients with. Get it out of your head and onto paper where it's transparent. Share
Yes.
it with somebody you trust, hopefully an advisor who knows what they're doing. And then be honest about where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It seems so simple, and I'm just thinking right now. Again, I'm looking back at my past. I have also been a single mother for many
Yeah.
years,
We have that in common. Yeah.
and I didn't start saving until I saving or any kind of retirement plan or any kind of future plan at all until I was 42. And now just thinking about where I have come from, I mean, I'm an endorsement for what you just shared with us is so true, because now I know where all of my stuff is. It's just transparent. I know where it is. I
Right.
get the reports. I get the reports, every quarter. Sometimes I don't want them every quarter. I'm like, "Ah, don't let me look at it. I know you're taking care of it."
No, no. Yeah.
But also the honesty. A few months ago, I thought I got everything in order. I've got my will, I've got my plan, I've got my plan. This is all great. And then Colleen, you sent me a survey or a quiz. What did you call it? It was cute.
Oh, it's our assessment. It's our
Your
quick
assessment.
5-minute assessment.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was so great and it felt so fulfilling because the difference between your assessment and other assessments is I got to say in the assessment, I'm good at this. I've done this.
Yeah.
It felt really good. And then there were topics where I'm like, oh, okay, that one's a level 5. That one is not a level 12. And it was just so beautiful and simple of a way for me to be honest with myself. So, coaches, like if you're out there thinking, where am I going to get my next client? Because this happens. This absolutely happens in
Sure it
your
does.
business. I think Colleen sharing with us a way to just keep that money monster to be your friend is really put it on paper. Talk to an advisor. I know when I talked to several advisors when I was going through this, lots of advisors talked to me for free. They just helped me. They coached me through the level of detail I was going to need and the level of intensity that it was going to take to get an emergency fund and do all of that.
You know what, Jill, and it is just so good to be honest. Like I didn't own a home until I was in my early 40s, and
Yeah.
people are like, "But you were a CFP." I'm like, "Yeah," and it made more sense for me to rent and build up all those reserves and do those different things. So it is a mindset shift. It's really important, and that's why I think there's so much judgment around money.
Mhm.
There just is, and guilt and shame and power and,
Mhm.
like I said, all those different things. That if we can support each other in saying we are where we are, how can we move forward in our future? Right?
Yeah.
I've been there where I I needed clients to make payroll.
Oh yeah.
Been there, done that. I think
Me too.
if you started a business, we've all been there, right?
Mhm.
But I don't want to live there ever again.
So
Right?
experience is a great teacher, is what you're saying.
Yes, and you may have more money in cash than people think you should, but you know what? Cash helps me sleep at night.
I'm glad I have a friend in that. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
I like to keep a little more cash than my advisors want me to keep, but that's where I come from. So yeah, so coaches, like get your money in order for sure. Colleen, you also very kindly sent me a book a few months ago called Messages from Money.
Oh, yes.
Messages from Money. I've read a few. Yeah, there it is. Messages from Money. Um, Keep that nearby because we might use that to play a game here in a minute.
Oh, and the cards that you can also get. This is Ellen Rogan,
I love this.
CFP, who also sold her planning practice and now works with
Perfect.
advisors. I sold mine and work with advisors now too. But these little cards, we use them with our team, but also with our family. Like, if you could achieve any dream, no matter how big, what would it be? So,
Okay,
I mean,
so
just
let's pause and let's play this game.
okay,
Let's play this game. We like to play games on Coaching Magic Podcast.
okay,
So usually I'm the one doing the game. Today you get to do the game. So here's the game. This is how it goes. You
okay. Tell me.
you choose one of those cards.
Okay,
You're going to bring it up. I'm going to be the contestant this time. You bring the card up and I will share what comes up for me with that
okay.
card. We're going to do it. Here we go. Here we go. And then if
Ellen
you want
Rogan.
to share what comes up for you with that card, we can do it too. Here we go.
Okay,
Drum
so I'm
roll. Yeah,
uh,
yeah. Just choose a card. Choose a card for me. We'll see how this goes.
what what color? Yellow, purple, or blue?
Oh, I get to choose a yellow. That's my mom's favorite color. And she
Okay.
oscillates between yellow and red. So I'll choose yellow.
Oh, this one I think you'll love.
Okay.
What actions can you take today with your money that your future self will thank you for?
Oh, thank you for this question. This is such a this is called coaching magic, my friends, because I am playing with this right now. So there's a concept called silver bullet, and this silver bullet is you work your way back to I know what I want to save or put away or invest, what amount of money I want to do every single month. So I have my dollar amount. I did all
Okay.
the calculations, and then I don't do it. And then I don't do it. Do you know why? I want to keep the money in my savings account where I can have access to it. And
Mm,
I've planned it, I've looked at it, but there's something in me that is like, oh, I just can't push that button. And what's
mm-hmm.
even more irritating to me is that I'm teaching my boys, hey, if you will just save something from every paycheck.
Right.
Save $50, save $5. My boys are starting to make good money now because they're in their older 20s. I'm like, maybe save $100, $200.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing it. I just committed to doing that and I just didn't do it. Colleen, what would you say to me? How would you help me push the button on that?
This is going to circle back to our start of our
Ooh,
conversation,
I love it when it circles back. I love it.
because if we're not being coached, right, what you just asked is a question your clients would ask you.
That's right.
They would ask you the exact same thing. And that's that mirror part of coaching that I think
Mm.
is so incredible. I really do. I think it's so incredible. So
I
what would you say to a client who said, I've got this dream, and I need this much money put away, and I need to put X amount of money every month, but I haven't done it.
but I haven't done it. Here's where I would naturally go. I would say, I would ask a question, do you have a system? Do you have a system, or are you waiting on your willpower? I love this, Colleen. You're just helping me coach myself. Do I have a system, or am I waiting on my willpower to make the decision every month again and make that bring up all those feelings of now I said I'm going to do this, or do I have a system? And as an EOS implementer, we have tools and systems. It's just like use the tools, use the system.
Right.
So I hear what I'm saying.
You just need a system,
I just need a
right?
system. I need to
Now,
set up an automatic, right? An automatic something.
withdrawal. Now, the other thing I would say, because I definitely have been exactly where you've been in the sense of saying, I'm doing this and, I haven't done it. Mostly for me, it's about some type of exercise that I say I'm going to do and I'll be really excited about it. Willpower.
Yes.
I set up a check with my sister, and it was for 20 minutes of Pilates. That's it. When I get it done, I'm sending you a check. And she never reciprocated what she wanted to do until like about 2 weeks later, because I'd say I wasn't going to do it, but I'm sending you a check. I got it done. That accountability. And then after 2 weeks, she started, and we've been doing it now since November, I think. So if I always say we have this thing in Coach called Pocket Coach about what we want to have happen every quarter. And I would say to you, and I would say to me, you are too powerful that if you have it down there and if you've done the work to put it together, you're too powerful to not have it happen. So either it's not important to you and let it go,
Hmm.
or get help.
Wow.
Get
That,
help.
that was masterful coaching. I sometimes in the podcast like to time out and just share what I saw in your coaching because this is how we all get better, right?
Yeah.
We observe it.
Hmm.
So I asked Colleen, I'm like, what would you tell your clients if this is? And she turned that around on me, and it was so beautiful because I just was able to talk to myself. As it turns out, she didn't have to tell me anything, which is a beautiful part of coaching because we really don't tell our clients what to do. What she also did, if you listen masterfully, and you might want to even go back and listen to it again, is after I said, "Oh, this is what I want to do," she put herself in my same shoes. She made it feel normal. She said, "I do this too." That gives me a little bit of energy. It didn't leave me thinking, "Oh, I'm the only lame person on the planet that never follows through on what I said I wanted to do." That's not what she did. She made an even playing field, and then she encouraged me. She encouraged me with just like one or two other little things that we could do. Colleen, masterful coaching. Thank you so much. It was so magical. It was so magical. I almost didn't even know it was happening.
Yeah, yeah, you did. You did.
So
I saw
thank
them. But
you.
isn't it the truth, especially at anyone who's listening to this podcast who are coaches, you're at a level where you know that the real power is in the question,
Mm,
not knowing the answer. I
yeah.
think in the beginning, most of us get our confidence from knowing the answers.
Yeah.
But as we grow and as we experience all these things and work with all these companies and all these individuals, we know that the answer is there. We may have some ideas, like my checklist thing. I mean, just made that up, said, and it's
Let's try
working,
it.
right? That accountability piece with whatever we say we want to do, I would not have thought about the systematize. And
Mm,
that's a great one, Jill, because saying to me, "Have you set up a system?" I wouldn't think that one right off the top.
yeah.
So I would think accountability. And that's why I think having these conversations with other coaches really expands our whole framework, right? It really expands all of us.
I'm so glad you're seeing that. It's being a coach also can be very isolating.
Hmm.
A lot of times we are these, solopreneur. We're working on our own, and if we don't have extra perspective, we can start to feel a lot of pressure. Like
Yeah.
we do need to have answers consistently. As I meet with my coaching group, I'm reminded that I don't need to have all the answers because I don't have all the answers.
Right.
There's no way I could. So to relieve ourselves from knowing, from relieving ourselves from having that pressure of having all the answers, comes so much more effortless when you're seeing that, hey, how I may have answered this question or the question I would have asked is unique, and Colleen has a different point of view, and Christy has a different point of view, and Shay has a different point of view, and it just opens up all of the possibilities.
Yeah.
Takes a
Yeah.
lot of pressure off, for
Yeah.
sure. I do have one last curiosity before we wrap this up.
Okay.
You coach advisors. You are a coach for strategic coaching
Yes.
entrepreneurs. Lots of advisors are in that program for sure. We use the word advisor, like financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
I have long since felt like advisors, the best financial advisors, are really good at coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So could you riff for a minute on maybe how you've taught your advisors to be a coach? Maybe what benefits those clients of the advisors that you coach might see from that. How are you incorporating just the coaching field itself into the advisors you coach?
Okay, so let me see if I've got that. We'll rift it back and see if it's it. So the assessment that you took, Jill, and if anyone wants to do it, just reach out. I'm happy to. It's on mindsets
Mm.
because financial people tend to be really good at financial stuff,
Hmm.
but often they forget there are humans attached to this money.
Mm.
And the mindsets, the conversation, when that you took that assessment and took it, that you took 5 minutes and you took it to your financial advisor about your mindsets on things and where you are and where you want to be, it's the reason, it's some of the why is your mindset, right? On wellness or on longevity or on partnership. It's really important for them to know. So the I think most of the coaching I do with advisors, it's never been about the money thing. There's so many systems about the money and there's so much software on this. What we really focus on is the human side. And that's probably why I have my why board, because that's the human side. There's these vision boards of where you want to go and all that stuff, which I think are fabulous. And I think they're incredibly helpful. And as you said, Jill, as coaches, we all have different things. And my thing that powers me is why. It's what's my why or what's their why? What's the question? When, and it's the same with coaching entrepreneurs. It is about mindset. And it's coaching coaches is all about mindsets. And we as coaches all are in our own workshops. The most important thing I think for all coaches is that we put ourselves in a place to be coached, because otherwise you'd be like a physician who never did your annual review or never did your blood work or never did your stuff. I always say that with financial advisors. If you don't have someone else that is doing the financial stuff that can take you through the difficult conversations around, I said I wanted to put that money away, but I didn't, you know, or insurance, or being transparent about how much money you want to make in the business and your expenses. That's one that I always find with entrepreneur. They always say, "Oh, I make $1 million," and then when you take all their expenses out, it's like
Yeah,
200,
exactly.
right? It's like it's not how much you make; it's how much you get to keep.
But that's the transparency and the honesty again.
Correct.
So the thing that I love about this is you're just tying it all together in such a simple way that, coaching, when we engage in coaching with humans that we're coaching or teams that we're coaching, things can shift very rapidly when a mindset can shift.
Oh, I love it.
Habits
Hmm.
habits are sometimes hard to break. Habits are of the body sometimes, and our body is subject to gravity and decay and slow and a little bit like that. But a mindset, a thought, an elevated mindset can change instantly,
Hmm.
and can have some really rapid transformation for people. So I love that you're teaching and coaching these advisors around it. It's mostly mindset. It's
Yeah.
mostly mindset. There's lots of, and with AI and technology, yes, there's lots of programs that can run through the numbers for us, pick the right stocks, all of that. But it's the human that's never going away, how we think and feel about things. So,
I
thank you.
think that's the right with financial, but I think that's right with coaching. I think that's why coaching has become so important, because we've realized there's humans attached to these businesses.
Yes.
We've realized that all the AI in the world, and please, I think AI is fabulous.
Me too.
I just my son, I took his Colby and his print and I put it in Perplexity with some Ichabod or whatever, and it came up with all career possibilities that he might want to have. It was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, that's right, that's right, that's a good thing. Anyway,
Mm.
so I think AI, we can use it to fuel a lot of things. But that human side, the coaching in there is magic, and it's
Mm.
going to be needed and appreciated.
Yep. And I get the sense that it's going to be needed, appreciated even more.
Yes.
Even more. As we embrace lots of technology, I think it's also going to give us a chance to we no longer need to type the numbers into the calculator. Great. That gives us 10 minutes now to have a longer conversation, to connect at a deeper level. which is what coaching is all about.
Yes.
Colleen, thank you so much for joining us on Coaching Magic. It was so fun. It was so full of all kinds of tools and insights. I know I've learned a lot. You may have even noticed I was taking notes because
I was too.
we're just always learning and growing. I appreciate you being a coach in my own life. I appreciate you spreading your coaching magic to financial advisors, to everybody at Strategic Coach. It's just really fun to know you and be a neighbor so we can go on walks together every once in a while.
Yes. If
Awesome.
everybody doesn't know, I am a Jill Young fan. I could be president of your fan club, maybe.
Oh my goodness.
I have to stand in line, though. I'd have to stand in line.
No, it's all just one big party. I just want to attend the party. That's all. Let's just all attend the party. That's fun.
Yes.
Colleen, is there anything you'd like to leave the coaches with? Anything that you did mention they could maybe fill out this mindset scorecard around their money? Is there a website they can go to? Anything like that?
Yes. So 2 things. Connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Colleen Bowler, CFP, but that's my name. Or our website is candjinnovations.com. And you can go on there and take the assessment, and we'll go ahead and send it to you. Maybe in the name, put your first name and then put dash JY or whatever.
There you go.
Yeah, so we'll know that that's part of that. But or message me on LinkedIn and I'll send you the links.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know it was a delight. I hardly ever take delightful assessments. I'm like, this is really delightful. I'm feeling really good about this.
Yes, I will tell Ellen Rogan. She's fabulous.
Awesome. And messages from money, right? I thought I had it on my messages from money. It really is delightful. It's as if money is talking to you and you're becoming friends with money. I highly recommend it.
Yes.
Thanks again, Colleen.
You're welcome.
I'm sure I will see you soon.
Yes.
Thank you for playing with me today in the land of coaching magic. If you want more magic, I invite you to explore www.jillyoung.com. This is where you can see all the shenanigans I've created for you to expand your world of coaching. See you there. And remember, you are magic.